but I'm just going to make it stop. I am your host, Dr. Brenda Power. Doctor represents metaphysics, and this is the Medicine Woman Soultion show. This is where your soul has a solution. So, solution is Soultion. It's been a very interesting weekend. A lot of great things happened, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about my dreams have been picking up, and one of the things that I've noticed is that the story is about men, okay, children, and for those of you that have a funny humor, I'm not talking about men as children, but I'm talking about um, we see a lot of women waking up. My curiosity is, I know some men that are waking up, but we don't really see a lot of it, and so I'm watching this show called The Americans, and it's Russian spies and that are look and sound like Americans. And the waking up process of this is what they're going to do. They're showing influences of how they're changing as humans. They were so devoted to the cause. They're still spies, they're still this, but the one is waking up and he's waking up. And what I noticed is that he's waking up and he's listening, and he goes with his friend to this thing called the EST, the EST. I can't remember what the name of the guy is, but it's about seminars that people would go to back in the day in the 70s that would communicate about how to process, how to deal with life, how to have a better health. And this, it's called something else today because they changed it. But it's that part of life that nobody really talks about. How do we deal with it? What are we supposed to do? Well, what is this thing called empathy, especially to understand yourself? And so they have the job to do. They were trained to kill. They were trained to assess, a trained to lie, okay, this TikTok just will not stay open here. They were trained. And he's been doing it for quite a few years now. And he's bumped into a few people that makes him want him to scratch his head and have empathy, going, why am I lying to these people? Why am I doing this? And it is frowned upon in certain areas that says, oh, TikTok's just not going to work here, that men are not supposed to share their feelings. They're not supposed to process. They're not supposed to do this. And that makes it very difficult when they are mating off with a female and she's asking for attention. She's asking for love. She's asking for being present. She's asking. And the hard part is, what do you do? They don't understand. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm here for you. I'm this and that. I'm all that. And the woman that's waking up, processing her emotions. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not here for me. And, so I can see an error of time that we are waking up. We are processing. We're looking at life differently. And so they show that this place, they go to these seminars, and the first person ends up going, and they're understood. They're able to communicate, oh my gosh, yes, it was this root cause. This is this memory, this thing that I can't process and get out of my head. And so they help you process your emotions and help you, why? Question it. It's all about questioning it. And so she gets a lot out of it, gets enough strength, leaves her husband. Her husband goes in there. Hi. And he then brings his friend, which is the Russian American. And so they're listening. Now, the one that's going there because his wife went there, he could, like, I don't get it. It's stupid. It's stupid. He just can't hear it. But the guy that's sitting there that was trained to be numb, to train to not feel, to train to do his job and have passion about that, he's sitting there going, I think there's something to this. So he starts to get more involved with Est, and it helps him process. So then his wife goes in and listens. She goes, oh, I get what they're talking about. She says, but it's a scam because they're asking money. And every time you keep going, you go into tears and all of this, and you, not tears, but levels up, and you have to pay more and more. And he says, I don't care. He says, I'm getting something out of it. Now, there's so many different perspectives. And one of the things that Medicine Woman Soultion teaches is there's a kaleidoscope of life. And as you're looking at these pieces, you think you know everything. You know. You have a cause, you have a reason, you have this, you know. And then life throws you life. Curveballs, this and that, other people's attitudes. And you do it. You just do life. You're happy and you're sad the one minute, you're screaming, yelling, and life's great. But to actually have that soul's urge to reach out to you, and that's the thing. If you don't have and understand your soul's urge, you're not going to get it. And when I began to understand this myself, I couldn't explain it. But there's this part of you that wants to know something different than everyday life. How do you cope with this stress of everyday life? And you ask a lot of my students, they're going to say, I don't know how I handled stress before. I don't know how anybody handles it today. I don't ever want to go back to that. So where did you come from? You come from a place that mimic and copy your family, your friends, your church, your society. And then to wake up, if you weren't one of those that were born to wake up differently within the family. Now, you are not the black sheep. You are a tie-dye sheep. And I refer to this tie-dye sheep as you don't quite think the way they think. It's not that you're slighted and depressed and all of these things. Yeah, no, there's an actual piece of your soul that wonders why. Why do you think that way? How do you think that way? And you follow all the rights and the wrongs until your soul goes, there is no right or wrong. There's a healthy alignment, and then there is the two extremes. Hi. When I had this awakening, and I tried to fit in my family. I thought I did, and I didn't think I did, and I was the only one that turned towards God that I'm aware of, but I didn't. But when the church asked me, well, it didn't ask. They just said, this is our church. This is what we do. And I just don't believe in church God. I don't believe in religion church. Okay. But when I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm helping out, I'm doing this. And then I hear somebody got denied wanting to come into the church. And I'm like, I didn't think we were supposed to turn anybody away. And my heart was like, why would we do that if we represent love? And come to find out, he was gay. And I'm like, what? So we have to follow these rules. And then we have to hate. That's all I heard. My heart, my soul says, I am to hate. And I'm like, but that's no. And if if you, honest to God, are feeling your soul's urge, it becomes very hard to hate. And I just couldn't understand it. And they're like, well, we have this march and we've got this, and it's like we got to pray the gay away. We've got to do all these. I'm like, excuse me? What? I never stood up for something. I thought I stood up for something. No, this is when I says, no, I am not for hate. Well, no, we're not. I mean, the brainwashing is unbelievable. I said, you can try all you want, but I can see that you work for the devil because you are nothing but hate. And that's not what my Jesus stands for. That's not what my heart and soul stands for. And the more that they, oh, then we're not supposed to like this person because they're, I said, you don't hear that? You don't hear how you are saying that you're comparing that to this, and you're saying that God created them, but God didn't made a mistake, or what? What do you? And I'm like, no, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not going to be brainwashed. I'm not going to do this. Love is love. So just recently, it came across that it's like talking to people. I says, I'm done with hate. I'm done with hate. And it's hilarious that we just had an election here, and we swung in the direction of love to the point where the commercials are all that says, I think it's hashtag stop the hate. I think, oh my God, is that why I'm here in Australia? Is that why God planted me here in Australia? Because it makes me more aligned to my soul's urge. We met a couple this weekend, and the guy was talking, and he told me what he studied, and I'm thinking, wow, we're on the same path with that. And so then we talked more about biology and physics. And then I'm like, I realized that, yes, there are people that are getting and questioning and looking, and more people are. Do we need to have to do the one thing that everybody else does? Do we need to hate? And it's like, no, no. I got this beautiful friend. She became a reverend, and I'm watching her going through her tribulations. That no, you're not supposed to be a reverend, blah blah blah. I'm like, why? Why? It's because we divide. It's gender. Why? Is it necessary? Because the soul is like, love is love. Love, when you drop below 500 hertz, can be all those things that are messy. And that's fine. But I live in a world where all of a sudden it's like I'm processing out. I said, I got to get past this. I don't like the stress. Spirit says, look at the emotions. And I'd look at my emotions, and then I'd question them, question my reality, question what I believed. Not about faith, about, you don't like me, right? But questioning that, because hashtag, we don't have to believe our own BS. Belief systems. And yes. Hi. So I go, where did we get those belief systems? We got them from the first 7 years of our life. And then from thereafter, we still keep getting it from the outside, borrowing it from the latest fad, borrowing it from the latest era of time. Consciousness is shifting through these beliefs in these perspectives. And it's not, oh, this one's correct, but being able to see the other side, putting the shoe on the other foot, and to be able to say, whoa, I had an experience. Now I'm getting where you're coming from. Not, oh, we had the same experience. Nobody can have the same experience. We can have similar experiences, and so they get where you're coming from. But if they're saying it just to have a conversation, or they're saying it to be alpha and you beta or whatever it is, your soul is going to see something. Yeah, I don't want to play. Because when your soul starts to really be present in that love state, you begin to see with your authenticity, which is your spiritual self. And to hone that in as a human, becoming a spiritual human, that's an integration process that many people haven't even discovered. They will wake up, but to be two separate people. Oh, 1 minute they're this, and the next minute they're that. And it's like, hold on, are you going to be a program and not connect with your authentic self, or you're gonna be your authentic self and then just run all your programs? You have to integrate, you have to get the wisdom. And I said, where is it? It's inside those emotions, those experiences. So I'm walking along with my husband, and we had a beautiful walk. So we did a 9K walk. And as we were walking, I was looking down at something, and all of a sudden this bicycle comes along. Now you can hear the tires, of a bicycle. You can hear them, right? On cement. And I didn't hear, I felt the hearing. So crossing over certain emotions or certain sensory systems. So, oh, you heard that. It wasn't that I heard that, I felt it first. And the intensity of the sound of the tire, the I felt my nerves jump before I had realized. There was just that brief second of saying, oh, what is that? So the brain starts to fill in the blank. And I could feel how disconnected I was from safety, security, stability, sanity, serenity, and space, that freedom. And how my body said, threat. Now, normally I could do ear accessing, but this is different. This was feeling the sound. I'm like, oh my goodness. That I could feel the physiology take off. Like if you ever get really nervous, you get a dry mouth and you can't think and all that. Oh, good. Somebody says, I get it. Thank you for responding. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm confused about a few things but as I'm listening to my soul says you're not confused. And I thought, whoa, because we're so black and white, we're so this and that. Well, it's a hearing, it's an ear thing. No, this was a feeling a sound, a feeling of a sound. My brain still interpreted it as a threat until I started to pay attention to, doesn't have to be a threat. Yes, I did other healing tools along with it. So when we feel, or the sensations of, it could be just the eyes. Or let's say you can't see, it could be just the ears. But all of your sensory system, people are like, oh, we only got a few. Smell, the taste. But you got proprioception. You got internal dialogue type thing, internal perception. You have all these other, you got like 9 sensory systems that nobody, we've limited our education. Says, hey, that's it. There's no more. We're done. And in fact, that's not the truth. And they all are related. I didn't realize how much of a kinesthetic I was until that moment. And the shrill went down my nerve. It was like a lightning bolt. My ear picked it up on the right side, but my body picked it up before my ear did. And then my brain says, what's that? And I said to my husband, I've got to, so I started rubbing points because I'm like, and I was having a hard time walking. All of a sudden, my proprioception started to go off, which means I couldn't keep my balance. And I'm like, wow, I can't walk straight. My breathing's off. My whole physiology was this. So that's what I was working on last night. And I remember being a kid and I was crying because I had cut my leg, my thigh with a piece of glass went in and it slit my leg, you know, and it hurt and I'm crying. And my brother, so I had to be about 7 or 8, and my brother starts yelling at me. And it's the same brother that was with me when I fell out of the car at 4 and slit my leg open. And of course, I was screaming bloody murder. And all I can remember is his big fat hand on my mouth, you know, trying to shut me up. And this time around, I must have, I screamed again, and I think I got on his nerve this time. And all the amount of yelling, hoping to shock me out of it, crushed me because it was like, that's my brother. So all of these different things can make you feel and be, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. But if you don't know how to process your emotions, to evolve your emotions, and your emotions set off emotional chemical peptides, which causes a physiology reaction. It attaches to the thoughts, it attaches to the pictures, and it creates a story. And if you can't process, your 41 thoughts per minute begin to focus. So you may have one thought about the pain, one thought about what happened, one thought over here, but all that 1 minute will be focused on that, and you start to fire and wire that event as a tragic deal, as a drama. And when you get older, you're going to have same reoccurrences of sounds, of things, and repeat this over and over. Until you take control of it, until you have that moment of, I don't want these. How do I deal with it? What's the process? You're supposed to just pray it away? Are you supposed to? And nobody understands prayer. I studied a long time about what prayer is. What are you supposed to do about it? If my boyfriend, when that tragedy happened when he died, I did everything I could. Yeah, I wasn't sleeping. I couldn't do much of anything. And as a teenager, which I refused to ever become like my family, which would smoke and drink, I wasn't going to get drinking, so I turned to smoking. And then I don't smoke today. I quit years and years and years ago. But I understood the process. I couldn't shut off the stress of those thoughts, the stress, the emotions that are tied to the stress, that ties to the thoughts, tied to the story. It's tied to life doesn't make sense. Talking about it only makes it worse, they have found through proven evidence. Talking about it without doing a healing tool. This is a healing tool. It touches this point here, which goes through a lot of meridians that help calm the emotions. This is a hairline. That hairline is connected to what's called the liver meridian, which processes emotional chemical peptides. These are your emissary points. And what happens is it's connected to the gallbladder as well, but it's connected to the forebrain. And it has been known that when you go into stress, 80% of the blood leaves the forebrain, which creates reality, and goes into the limbs about what you've already memorized because you are in stress. You have to fight, flight, freeze, fawn, fornicate, whatever it is you got to do to survive. We create a lot of programs. So I had studied about meridians. I studied about emotions. I needed to know answers about how do you process, how do you deal with life, because this isn't it. Bringing the blood back up. And if you were just to be present and look at how you know, listen to the connection of the words of loss, anything to do with less than love, you can measure it, you can hear the story, and you'll swear to God that that's it. But when you start to bring the blood back up and you keep focusing on not, oh, this is what the answer is, it's because of it. No, that's not healing. That's intellectualizing, which makes it worse, and you'll never get rid of the root. It's okay to get the connections, but don't force it. And as I began to do this, it's like, whoa, this thing works. Now I can do EFT, tap certain points, but that led me on the trail of that there's emotions that is connected to our organs and parts of our body, but there's got to be some way to access it because you're made of energy. So I came up with deep research. I only had a few emotions. And so then I started adding to these meridians and I started doing, and then I found these Chinese pulse points. Okay. And so then I started to play along with the emotions, with the pulse points, and then I have my success hope therapy tool. Then to find out that 25 years earlier than that, this was after I've already started doing my healing, my journey. There's all of the Donna Eden, all of energy medicine, and NeuroNet, all of those. So somebody has already been doing it. The wave didn't come over and connect with me. So somebody had gotten that information too. And I have information over here. Now we're connecting. And what's interesting to this world today is I'm looking at these waves that are happening and all these perspectives. So when you're looking at the kaleidoscope, there's so many things going on that are complete opposites or not even the way it's connected. However it is, but it is on a scale. Where are you? Are you living in what extreme? And have you gathered enough wisdom to be able to live in the infinite level of balance? I know that sounds like far-fetched and something that you have a hard time understanding. But when I began to reach deeper into the knowledge of why I wanted to create this, I started getting scientific proof. And so everything was backing up what Spirit had told me. And then it became more real. So as I'm healing myself, I'm doing my thing, and then I'm able to pass it on. Because I don't know how people live in their stress. And I look at men and look at how they were taught that they weren't allowed to feel, suck it up, just like when my brother's screaming bloody murder at me to shut up, but he's saying, suck it up. He's telling me to stop crying, but he is telling me to also stop feeling. And what did we do for generations after generations? Oh, you're crying because you want attention. You made excuses for their pain. You're denied, you have rejected, you have what are some of the words? I know you guys know. What are some of the words that uh my husband and I were coming up with some of these things we're looking at, and I can't remember what some of them were. But it's dismissing. Um, but as we did this, because you're trying to co-parent and deal and you're doing this, that energy goes out to that person, that child, that person. Too sensitive, stuff your feelings. Very good. Thank you very much for playing along. And you're like, then you've got guilt and shame on top of the words that they say, disapproval. I mean, you're like, we're taught to wait a minute, I need their approval. Do we? Do we need their love? And as I got older and as I was healing myself, I realized when I love me, it isn't, oh, I love me and I'm going to hurt you. It is, I had to do and make decisions so I could live. My body was dying. I don't want to do it anymore. I need to be me. I need to be that soul's urge. I need to be able to express differently without having to be this correction, this disapproval, these sayings, these gaslighting. And when people come up to me and go, oh, you're still doing that habit, they're telling me they hate me. Now, people are like, well, I did not. Yes, energetically, they're building that intolerance tube and they are stuffing every time you do that behavior. They're saying, I can't cope with it. I can't handle it. It's not about me. It's about how they were when they were little. But in the present time, I can feel when that love gets pulled away. I can feel by what is being said that is all I ever heard growing up, which is what you've got to heal. It's not necessarily in the moment. That's just giving you the present live experience. And you're like, oh my God, I can see how my little felt. I can see how I had thought. I can see it. That is another part of what you have to heal. Because getting your power back to things that you agreed upon, accepted, and gave your willpower to create that particle, that live experience, that moment. So when I'm standing there, and it's not even about words and interaction with people, this was a sound that I felt because that is how I used my sensory system of kinesthetic, was to feel the sound. Because I do something called sensory accessing, which you can help remove it from your ears and your eyes and your nose, and your kinesthetic, all of it. Because it's a sensory system that needs to be healed as well, because it takes all these pictures. But when somebody feels like they need to tell you, and I'd always be constantly told you do it that way, you look like that, you're doing that. And you're like, yes, I am. Yeah, you feel the tone. Even to the point where I put white eyeshadow, you just can't see it. And I heard the voice, well, that looks stupid. Nobody wears white. You shouldn't do that. And I'm like, shut up. So I took my power back from a program that I had heard or put together as a kid. Because those 41 thoughts that were running on in negative emotions with a negative mental attitude created a nocebo effect and was trying to control me. And again, some of you are like, you had a demon? No, these are programs. These is a shit that you heard that you didn't process, and they all have chemical peptides. It hurt your feelings and it stayed. You over-identified with it and it stayed. You know it, you hear it, but you don't have to obey it. So you need to really begin to notice what those 41 thoughts per minute are. Because when you're stressed, man, that gets jacked and you go into beta and high beta and brainwave, and you lose you. And you believe that out there is correct, and therefore you form another program and you lose you become an echo of yourself. And I keep hearing that there's so many people that are running around as echoes of themselves, and they always show me the picture of how they're way back there and here I am. You're connected to your soul. You're not in the present moment. You're not understanding. You're an echo of yourself, and the program is answering and living and being and communicating with the world today. And when you begin to heal, oh, hell yeah, I understand it now. Thank you. You helped me with this. You're welcome. I've never I gave you a reading, that's right. But if nobody else has had a reading before from me, I'll give you one free. But if you'd like to pay for one, there's 5, 15, and 25. When you begin to see these things, you begin to wake up and go, whoa, Yeah, it's happening here, but do I need to keep seeing it, keep projecting it, keep being it? So when I was witnessing somebody that was doing what I did when I was a kid, and I could feel myself going, oh, they don't like this about me, blah, 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 blah. I said, I came from that echo of myself, came forward and said, did you hear that? We can measure that. We don't have to believe that, but it's something we know, and we have energy loss because the vibration of 500 dropped. That's not who you are. I love myself. And I can feel my eyes rolling, going, and I can feel all the gestures on my face. I'm like, what? And so I don't waste it. I paste it. If all you can do is OMG, good on you. But if you can do all the other tools, good on you. Keep doing it. Really understand that 3-year-old trauma that programmed me. Great. Listen to what she said. I understand the 3-year-old trauma. Now, it can be a 3-year-old trauma, or it could be your 3-year-old that had trauma. But here's the thing, it happened. People say, I don't remember what I was 3. You don't have to remember what happened at 3. Was it a fist fight? Was it a screaming match? You already memorized what happened at 3 by the emotions and the pictures. Because see, here's the original event, but we delete, distort, and generalize to be able to take that 4 billion bits of information to make it fit so we can comprehend it as a human. And we do it again, and every time we think with those 41 thoughts per minute, and per minute, every time we think about it, we delete, distort, and generalize, and we make ourselves the hero. We are no longer in the hero's journey. We are in the healer's journey. So you do not have to be controlled by those programs. They are emotional chemical peptides that says this is the captured experience moment, and that's who you are. And it is not. Because your soul's urge is saying, I may have experienced some of this, but I'm going to get the wisdom out of this, because this is only the experience. It does not own me. And how do you know? Because when you get your blood back up into your forebrain, when the blood goes back into your organs and works with that visceral nerve, when you go from to, calm and clear, you start to break the habit. You start to break how your brain goes, oh, I know this one. Let me just fill in the blanks. So you don't have to do any hard work and memorize it, because we've already done that, remember? But you can wake up as that soul's urge and go, there's the program. Don't be the program. Hear the program. Look at I can measure it. It's got a number. It's this. This is how I know it. And then use your energy field to process it. Because the wisdom that pops up when you're done, whoa. Now, a lot of people say, oh, I feel better, sure. And then they go back to doing it. They hit the habit button again. They go back. They didn't learn. But if you were awake with your soul's urge, you're going to go, huh? Blink, blink. This is a program. This is me. And now you have to witness how you know the difference. How do you have to believe those storylines? This is why I say write it down. It's not some healers going, well, if you write it down, then you're just going to reinstall it. No, that's where you wake up. Oh my gosh, I can see where I invested my life force in making that true, because I had to have that conclusion and that outcome to make it intellectualized so I can survive and deal with it. But you're not that. You're more than that. So in that moment, my body feels the tires. And that electric bolt went through my body as if I'm startled. And I stopped. And I said, it's okay. It's okay. Now, I didn't have to ask anything. I just put my hand in my head. And I just sat with feeling that electric bolt, then feeling what I heard. And then I did sensory accessing or treasure chesting, and even cord switching. And the thing is that relationship to that entanglement cord, okay, in quantum physics, as I changed that and cleaned it off, it didn't have to be in me. It didn't have to be my emotions. It didn't have to be my live experience. The memories could be a memory, and the emotions dissolved off it. And so then a little later, another bicycle, but this time it was outside my aura. I was aware. I didn't have to startle and jump. It felt like it's inside of me. It was outside of me. And I'm like, oh, did you hear that? Did you see that? I'm witnessing to myself. Like, now I understand, because I could never understand how my ex could always just never take it in, and it always fell. You know, he was selective and I'd like to know that gift. Well, now I have it. And I get it. Waking up to the fact that I was seeking the approval of a mask. Oh my gosh, was that huge? You had that session, and when you finally, on the soul's urge, recognized where you were placing your life force power, you accepted, you believed, you gave it your willpower. Wow! You accepted, you believed, you gave. But in that moment, as you're that soul's urge, you are that soul. You're going, that was then and this is now. I take my power back. And you have the gift of imagination. You have the gift of understanding with the gift of awareness, and you can use tools to help transform you. And when you finally see something as this person puts on a mask, and you were trying to seek approval from the mask instead of the person that's hiding, you went, and so it's the insight that helps create reality. It is the epiphanies, it is the collective knowledge that forms another idea to understand that you don't have to believe your own reality. You can actually begin to understand your reality, and you get to be the creator of your reality. And you are totally connected with your spirit. And when the more you start to bring in these lessons, the more you are going to hold to become a spiritual human. And this is huge. This is very huge. Wow, this is deep and so true. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for communicating. This is what I teach. Now, you want to know more? I've got lots and lots and lots of videos on these epiphanies, these insights from the soul's perspective. Just go over to YouTube, Medicine Woman Soultion. That's Soultion. Subscribe, thumbs up, give me feedback. I know people that watch them over and over and over and get more and more out of it each time. And I'm thankful for that, because it helps my ratings. It helps to this is a movement. This isn't about me. This is about being in a 5D world. What does it sound like? What's it look like? What are our gifts? How do we use that gift of awareness in human form? How do we do this as a soul? And there's a lot we can do. Hi, Amber. Happy Mother's Day, Brenda. Oh, thank you. And Mother's Day, gaining knowledge and healing from Brenda. I woke up. So yesterday was Mother's Day for us. And I woke up to my daughter, giving me a beautiful little meme of Happy Mother's Day, which just started my day off all wonderful. And then my husband said, "I want to go for a walk." I said, "Okay." Spirit goes, "Look at that sunshine out there." And I'm like, "Yeah." Spirit says, "Let's go outside." And I said, "I'm going to go walk with you." And it was only going to be like a 3K walk. And then it's like, as soon as I got so far, I said, "I feel so wonderful. I'm going to walk." We ended up taking and walking 9K there and back total. But we ended up going to the mall or the plaza or whatever you call it over here. And we had a beautiful, healthy burger. And it was a wonderful thing. It was just so beautiful and so pleasant. I got back before dark, and I thought, I have never celebrated Mother's Day over here, but I felt like yesterday I had. It was just to feel appreciated, to feel loved, to feel, but it was coming from a soul's perspective. And it was just so beautiful to know that my inner world was allowing such love in, because your inner world creates your outer world. This is why you heal, so you can change the inner world. And yes, it was so beautiful and so sweet. I was just like, I spent the day basically holding my husband's hand all day because, when we go for a walk, we hold hands. And it was just beautiful. I'm just so grateful. And that's the thing. When you're really living as part of your soul, you're not grateful when you're just a human, but when you're a spiritual human, you wake up and you're like, oh, I feel that love. I feel that joy. I feel that gratitude. I'm not, oh, I have to go through my list. Now, this is it. It's just a feeling. It's a state. It's all of these things. And I know as I'm downloading, usually a song will come on, something will come through, but I feel like there's a shift in the wave and more things are connecting up. But one of the things is I think men are starting to realize that emotions and feelings are not just for women, where you have to do gender, you know. And this healing is for anybody, young, old, any colored skin, any gender. It's for the soul. And it's okay to break traditions. It's okay to break rules when it comes to the rules that are set by a person that wants to control your world and making you live miserably. You're here to evolve as a soul. It isn't about the human physical form. Hi, Zale. It is so much more than that. So much more than that. That's beautiful. I'm so happy for enjoyed yourself. I did. It was a totally different, and then even though there was all these people, it was just like the day was made for me. And I'm like, all right, Spirit, we got this. Here's your chance. If you want to come on, you can send in through PayPal, $25. Do it USD. And you can come on and we can heal, we can chat, we can do whatever. And so I know Amy will be coming on. I saw something as a chat. The chat is only 15, and I believe April Lynn. I'll have to open it up. I know she went to bed. She has to get up before the butt crack of dawn to go to work to make the bacon. And so she still works on herself. And I'm so proud of her for that. And you can make time for yourself. You have to sometimes put yourself in the driver's seat, in the creative's chair, to create life for yourself. Oh, you need to buy what? I can't see what it is. Wow, it's been almost a whole week since I opened my computer. She says, Kate, so what Spirit wants. Okay. So she just is whatever Spirit wants. We can do that. I've been writing about teaching the class, teaching classes, and one of them is how to become a better reader. I get it by bacon. And how to be how to be a soul coach. And so regardless, soul coaching, I can do that forwards, backwards. I mean, I know all of that. And it's just amazing how Spirit has taught me how to do all these things. So as I was writing about one thing, another class started to form. It's like, but how do I introduce this to the world? It doesn't matter. I know Spirit will. So I just need to keep writing, keep forming, because these aren't just slapping shit together. This is, each word is very important. It really is. Okay. So PayPal, if you, so what do we got here? $5, $15, $25, or tribal? Now, tribal, I think it's so worth it because you come together, you learn how to heal your stuff, how to see like this, and we're doing it into as a group. One of the things we learned was how to hold space when you know that one tribal member is having trouble, and how you can make a difference even if you can't connect with that person and they're far away, and they can feel the difference. So we learned a lot of new things lately. I'm glad all my phones are charging. I come in and everything's on low battery, even including me. But we had a major spike in the energy fields, and I believe it's now that these era of time, this awakening, and I really believe that the children and the men are starting to wait a minute, because they don't want to just live as stuffing it down, overcoming, or using a tool like alcohol or other things just to stuff it anymore. They all, that's so pretty, a little baby breed. I loved it. Yeah, it was a major spike. And it happened just as I was falling asleep. And oh, my body and my mind was, we're not tired. And I'm like, well, you should be, because we have to get up. And so I got 3 hours sleep. Is that why I've been feeling tired for no reason? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes, Devin. Oh, must be an hour's time. Oh, I'll confirm. Oh, I got to find things that match. I see two Y's. Oh, but I see two shapes too. Hey, I got it. Yeah, my body, because I'm real kinesthetic, that's for sure. Ron says, energy has been wild, riding a huge wave. Now, what's interesting is you got to understand about waves and particles. So all there is energy. And energy, how does it communicate? So if you look, you think my hands are touching, but it's not. It's electromagnetic, and they're bouncing off each other. And it's the programming. It is the way that we use when we come in as a soul. We don't just come into the body. We have to slip on this mental body, and we have to slip on this emotional body. What don't you understand? If you have a quick question, then I can help define it a little bit deeper. This is why I'm here. So as your soul begins to operate as this human form, it's in this energy field. And so if you're looking, it's a particle, and when you're not looking, it's a wave. So you have superpositioning. And superpositioning in physics is that there's endless possibilities. So this is the quantum field, okay? There's not just one answer until you make the choice to accept, to believe, and give it your willpower, okay? And accept is an agreed upon thing. And this is not just you, but it's also how others have agreed upon, like this is a like stylus. It's not just like a pencil form, but we give it more meaning. And the more meaning that you give it, the more you create it, the more you'll have a bond with it, the more you'll see it in existence or pop it out of existence. Or if you don't like something, you're like, I'm not that, and you put all this energy in that, then all of a sudden you're just going to always have people show you again and again and again, because this is you sowing and reaping with your energy field. Okay. So in this energy field, it's not everybody is one person, not necessarily. We are all of spirit. So one person and each people can decide, let's say there's 1,000 pens all in a different direction, and all of a sudden I put my sight onto it and the pen's going to stop like this. So I can interact with it. I can go forward in times, I can go backwards in times. I can remember a little girl when I was holding it wrong, and I remember getting yelled at, and the correction, I could feel it. I can go forwards in time, and I can just say, oh, I can see that done, and I can imagine that. So then I'll pick it up differently so I can bring it into existence. But as the collective, as one, begin to rise, there'll be pockets, or what's called the blanket theory. And oh, it's called the blanket theory. And it is everything is all the same all at once, but different thoughts and ideas form, and these things can match, and we agree upon it. And then we say, this is what it is. This is why we have dictionaries. This is why we have definitions. But we are redefining the definitions on some things because we have moved so far off target that we have always defined things based on what mom and dad said, what their mom and dad said, what their mom and dad said, not the actual why, not the actual definition. This is why part of one class that I keep saying I want to create, and I started it a couple of times, I just hopefully one day it'll be ready, and that is becoming your authentic self is to redefine how you know you know. AI says, so coaching insights. Yes. So we can take a word and we can say, this is what it means to us. And what if that definition went no further than what your parents did? But they learned it because it was not about the true definition, it's from what they've learned. And it goes like the story of the pan, the ham in the pan. So the woman's cutting off the ends of her ham, puts it in. Husband says, why do you cut the ends off the ham? Questioning, right? She goes, I don't know. Mom did it. All right, let's ask her. Hey, Mom, why do you cut the ends off the ham? She goes, I don't know. My mom did it. She was fortunate. Her mom was alive. Mom, why did you cut the ends off the ham? Because my pan was too small. Get a bigger pan. We think that we need to pass on traditions when we don't understand where they come from. Or we believe that we need to do it exactly the right way or the perfectionate way, or else it's not worth doing. But where do some of this comes from? It is how we interact with social skills, whether as we go to do it, and if somebody's in a bad mood or in a psychosis issue, and we don't know it, we're going to think it's our problem. Then as we get older, what's wrong with us? And then we realize our parents are just like us. They're not perfect. They're not kings. They're not gods. They're not queens. They are doing their best as a human being, like every human being before them. And each level of consciousness is that they're waking up. And the more what we wake up, the more we'll be able to take and the generations of curses, as people call it, you get this, the buck stops here. And that usually means reparenting ourselves, balancing our emotions, helping us to evolve. All right, so I'm just going to get, since there's only two people, again, at any time, if you want to, you go right ahead and we will have a session. Chat is like in this space here. It's, and videos are to bring them on. So the chat is that Miss April Lynn has paid for a chat. Oh, did I not charge this? Yikes. I bet you it's not charged. Now, how did I get the camera? That ain't gonna work. That is definitely not gonna work. Okay, hold on. I have to figure out what I just did. And it's not rotating. There we go. She says, whatever spirit wants, and that's what we're going to give her, is whatever spirit wants. I'm hearing a song that could be in your head. I don't know which one it is, but they're giving me a song that is by Lola called Messy. It is when somebody is giving two different opinions. Ah, you're too messy, you're too clean, you're too this, you're too that, you're too. And they're screaming, why can't I just be me? When am I allowed to be me? Well, if you're living for somebody else, that becomes a problem. So if they're bringing that song up, they're saying that when you're around 4 years old, and they're telling me that your magnetic field is off. So give me a second. What do you want her to do, SP? And there was a party, it was like, no, I'm not living that way. So you're going to think 4 years old, you're going to think, no. And this is where you can get some insight. But I want you to go down to the spleen. And I said, which one? They said the right foot. So go on the right side and follow your big toe on the inside part of your leg. Go there, and I want you to use your magnet 24 times and then rub 30. Now, as that happened, there was a part of you that you have to forgive yourself because you displayed yourself as your parent at some point within the raising of the children. Now, your nerves are in nerve compensation. Okay, so what does that mean? I see an emotion that's sitting on your nerves. Is it the vaga? Just say nerves. You want it to be more accurate? No, just say nerves. And it's like when I hear a sound and it just kind of startles me. So just think of like, no, I don't want to do it. And so what is the no? The no, when what you hear coming is a conditioning. You feel there an energy invading in your space, and the energy you feel is their arrogance into your space, then which causes you to have to go into conditioning of behaving. But inside, you're lofty. But it just doesn't get to come out because you have to be on your best behavior. So as I'm looking at this, I said, is there an emotion invading your nerves? And they said, yes. And so said the emotion is failure. So a part of me is thinking and hearing along with that song is, okay, when I prove to you that I am not this, then you don't notice. You just go, oh, look, now you're that. Ah, it's like always finding something wrong. And I said, oh my goodness. So if we have this this failure and this loftiness to prove them wrong, so you have failure from them stuck in the nerves, and then you have an auto reaction of failure to prove them wrong. And okay, so what we're going to do, let's see, we have to get you to connect to how that resonates. And if once you're like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, then feel how it's conditioning that you will do it without thinking. You'll do it without thinking. This is where you're going to say, thank you, Spirit, for helping you see it. Okay. Oh, thank you. But what you want to do is that in this case, they said you had to coerce. You had to coerce yourself. You had to use loftiness on yourself to believe that they're right, and you had to hurt them yourself because of what they said. Okay. And they said, now, once you start to get this, you're gonna be getting ready to crack open your egg. So you are in arrested development. Oh, well, then if it resonates, you're going to do the healing too as well. So now I'm looking, and they said, okay, the belief that's a lie is that you were deficient and couldn't live up to their moving target of belief systems, rules, codes, whatever. As soon as you think you got it, they change the rules on you. Okay. So you have believed that they are right and you're wrong. Ugh. Okay, it resonates with you too. Okay. So if you can imagine this, then what you're going to do is you're going to take and you're going to start here because your egg just is like blown apart. This egg still is sealed, but this part that's supposed to protect you from out here is down. This one's down. We want it to be out. So this one, you're going to use your magnet on your chin. Okay, 24 times. And then you're going to rub it 30. Okay, and deliberately go from the crotch, draw straight up, rub, 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 rub. Do that 3 times after you've done the magnet. Okay. And then you're going to say, towards myself. Then you're going to go, okay. If you're pregnant and it resonates with you, you're pregnant, don't do it. But if you're not pregnant, you can do this. So then you're going to go to the left hand. The left hand. You're going to go to this spot right here. That's follow the 2 bones down, slide back into the hole. You're going to use your magnet. But what you are going to do is you're going to say, towards myself, towards myself. Notice that you have to think these things toward yourself. They don't like me. They hate me. I'm doing it always wrong. But so once you've done that, there you go. And this is how the communication was to control you in the household. This is how you were controlled by another person that you just wish you could get their damn approval from. But what the thing is they weren't just, they had their mask, they had psychosis issues, they're blah, blah, blah. But in your mind, you don't know that. And your nerves always go into this dark night. Now, all of a sudden, I got nauseous and dizzy. So I don't know who's out there, but I'm just going to hold the space for you. Because you're going to come back because your body's saying, no, 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 I can't do this. I can't do this. And this is where you're just going to rub and you're going to do the left. And where you're in conviction that you do not want to be with these people, start rubbing the spleen again. Okay, start rubbing the spleen again. Because your reaction was as soon as you knew that person's going to be in your space, you knew that how they were going to act, you immediately begin to reject that out of your reality, and it rejected things out of your world, and you're saying what they said. All the things that said about how they reject you and don't like about you and all of this, you're too messy, you're too clean, you're this and that, and you try to prove them wrong and all. You're going to end up holding R1S, right wrist, first position soft. And you're going to literally look at how you know. But you as a soul, no, you do not have to do this. Hi, you do not have to do this. Okay. Is there anything else you need her to know? No. I think that's good. You've done good. Thank you so much for paying, Aprilyn. And oh, look at the 21s, even that 12 backwards. There we go. Yeah, because the body needs you at this point because it's holding a particular pattern. So, my adrenals. So I was like going, I'm always working with spirit. My body says, your adrenals. And I'm like, what is going on with my adrenals? Spirit says, you never asked me what emotions could be invading. There's a difference between experiencing emotions from that area, but then there are other emotions that come from other organs and other meridians can get locked and invaded in there, and gets trapped and they can't get out. And so knowing that something in there that's not supposed to be can change the health into, less than. And so I had dread locked and I'm thinking, oh my God, I had healed out dread, but I hadn't gone to the organ that was most affected by dread. And that was my adrenals. That's my adrenals. Okay. And I'm going to go double check. I'm hoping you guys have had a good, you're enjoying the show. Got to get there it is. And I'm going to go get Amy because she's paid. And there she goes. Oh, my timer's still running. I don't understand what happened to my timer. I'm going to have to fix that later. There we go. Today was about white. Today was about clear. It's about mastering certain things. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent. You look lovely.
Thank you. So do you.
Thanks. How do you want my help today?
It's been really interesting. Um, I saw I saw one of my siblings yesterday and I communicated with the other one. And I don't normally communicate with either one of them, let alone both in the same day.
So, what's up with all of that? Well, first of all, you kind of knew one sibling was going to appear.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah.
how much did your 41 thoughts per minute go into thinking about that event that was coming up?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Did it worry,
The thoughts were worry. It was
fear? It was rejection?
yeah, I could see all of these different things that could possibly happen, and
Yep,
none of
deep
them happened.
imagination. Right. And so worrying, what do they say, the old phrases, the more that you worry, it never happens. So it
Hmm.
works. It works. So that means that, hey, let's keep worrying so that it will protect us. So we use worry to protect,
Hmm.
but that's a form of stress that you could live with or live without.
I could live without that.
So you had learned that if I worry and come up with all the worst case scenarios, then when it doesn't happen, I'm going to feel
Hmm.
really good. I'm making sure people, there's a lot of people who are like, hold on, what'd she just say? Okay, so Jenny says, is there anything I can be for my chakras? Now, let me tell you something unique about it. One of the things that I've been learning with my chakras. So we're looking at this program with Amy, and she's supposed to worry to protect herself. She didn't even realize. Did you realize we were doing that to protect yourself?
No. Uh-uh.
Okay. Okay. So what that is that it was borrowed and learned, and so long ago, and it sits in her second chakra. So your chakras are data centers. They collect your experiences, your thoughts, your beliefs, and all that. And the first three are about consuming and resonating. So if I ask Amy, or Amy, when I fell out of a car, did you know this? I fell out of a car. She's going to look in her chakras. Did I fall out of a car? No, I fell off my bike.
Fell off
Okay.
my bike.
But she's not, not thinking about it. And then I say, but when I fell out, the car door hit me back and slit my leg wide open. And I've got a scar this big. And she goes down to her data centers, and all of a sudden she's, oh, I got a scar. And it was when I fell off my, oh, yeah, oh. So we're this,
Hmm.
they wanting to be relatable. For her, she borrowed from 0 to 7. How do I be a human being? So she's around 3 years old, and she gets to experience people over in her space worry and
Hmm.
worry, worry, worry. And then it doesn't show up as worry. Isn't that sowing and reaping? Not really. The kickback is the karma is going to hit you in the face at that second. Worry, kickback, because it's the chemical peptides. And you're in a way you're cancer clearing, deleting, and at the same time you're not, and you're creating a whole bunch of chemical peptides. So I'm looking at how you were in your second chakra, and you feel very deficient, which is one of your main themes as a
Hmm.
soul. And your fourth chakra is, do I hear with my heart? Okay. You want empathy. Now, part of the collective is people are finally having empathy. I mean, they're just not going to be cold, run around, hurt, and destroy people and all this and that because it's a job. But when your heart begins to open up, now your heart would be broadcast all over the place. I'm happy, I'm joy, I'm this and that. And then to be to hear that something you deeply love is going to die, the concept of death wasn't really strong. And I think you may have lost a pet around there. I'm not sure.
I did. We had a poodle and he disappeared.
Okay.
I know that I believe Dad had to take him out and put him down.
Okay. But that is, I think, is like one of your experiences that you started to connect the dots with your brother that passed, right? And you didn't understand. It kind of left you a little bit in shock, okay? Your fourth chakra, you felt deficient. I don't want to be confident. I don't want to have empathy. I don't want to have this. I don't want this joy to be crushed. I don't want my heart crushed.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of living through your heart, you lived through your third chakra of giving your power away to your family members.
Mm-hmm.
What does this mean? This means that what's happening today is that you got to be in a live experience of how you used to do things where you're supposed to worry because you pick that up to how your family does it. And you're supposed to do all these worst case scenarios. Was it as thick as it was before you started healing with your soul?
No,
But you knew it was there, and it's
I
something you
knew it
could.
was there because my brother is OCD for the most part. And me, I'm like the complete opposite. So,
Did he come in and judge your house?
no, they didn't come in the house at all. So I worried for
Wow.
nothing.
So they came and they done and they left. They couldn't even spend time with you.
Nope. Nope.
Did you
We went out for
go?
lunch and came and did what he had intended to do, and they left.
Wow. So one, he wasn't nosy and he wasn't judging you. He just came in and he did what he wanted to do and left. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, as I'm beginning to see this, your communication with your brother has always been the same. Simple,
Hmm.
direct, done.
Yeah.
You had worked yourself in a tizzy about, I'm going to do something and I know he'll reject it. How
Hmm.
strong was that?
Oh, that was probably 5 bazillion.
And you worked on it to some degree, but you had to experience, is it true?
No, it's not true. And I told him, and he's like, well, how are you going to do that? Did you win the lottery? And I never even really answered him.
Right. And he says, oh, I want some of that. So he was basically in a conversation with himself.
Uh-huh.
What did you expect him to show up?
I expected him to give me the third degree.
Okay. Now, this is important. Why? What meridian or meridians made you expect that he was, which is a conclusion, that he was going to give the third degree and it was your stomach? Okay. And I said, and it shows the word startled. I said, so the body was prepared that you're going to get this reaction. I said, so the stomach said, yes, we're going to get this reaction. And I'm like, so when did you have that reaction before? And they said, you experienced it when you were about 2 years old. But then her brain said, this is what to expect. It's a little bit more than that. What it is that you were chasing your dreams, but you always were denied.
Hmm.
said, okay, explain it. And they said, well, she would chase, like, I wanted fairies, I want to do this, I want to be a dancer, I want to blah, blah, blah. And they were ho-hum. They weren't really connected. They didn't listen. You could be talking to them and showing them right then and there. And the answers were always, sure, whatever you want. And then,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's time. And they're like, no, you can't have that.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what? Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yep.
So you didn't have, oh, my phone just shut off. So I've lost my one TikTok. I have no idea why my phone just died. It should be charged. So we have to look at how you're live and you are low. It says it is not charging, and yet it's charging. I'm confused. You're not getting repaired. Hold on, this is very important because it literally says it has no battery. So I have lost my one TikTok account. Yeah, it says it's charging. It's just not. So something is running that's wearing the battery down faster than it can charge. What is going on in Amy that's running faster and wearing her out? Is that this? So be it? Yes. And they said, attention, loftiness. So I'm going to write down loftiness. I'm going to write down attention. That was the one. Oh, there's Robin. Whew. Yeah, my phone died. And we're using that as understanding that Amy's in a situation. And I said that is a gland, is an organ, a meridian, a system. You actually have a system. A system. So you have a physiology response system that has caused. Okay, so what system is her nervous system? So the process information from the brain to the spinal cord. And what about it? Is that how your parents displayed the pictures, the tone of their pictures? So, okay, let's look at this. We know that tone, and usually means ears. I said, did you hear it? And they go, yes. So you heard a tone with your ears, but it affected your whole nervous system. So the computing between the brain and the body. So the brain and the body connection, is that connected? Yes. But the connection at the time was one of the dark nights. Okay, so we got to see what this is. What kind of tone did you hear? And you heard, and it's something to do with being timid. So you're supposed to be. So you must have been intimidated.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what did you kind of hear? And they said, you heard again this energy, but it was energy that was invading. And I said, how did it come in? Did it come in fast? Did it come in slow? It was in front of you, behind you, to the different direction? It was left or right? No, it was aggressive. So the tone was very aggressive. On a scale from 0 to 10, it was very much a 10. We're going to talk about the wheelchair.
It came from the left. It came in the left.
So we know that it's the left side. We know that it came in very aggressive. And did that shock you? Yes. How so? Because love never sounded so mean.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first time you really experienced how love was very aggressive. And then how love, there was a habit formed that love, that you have to expect from the outside a certain amount of action. Oh. Was there anybody that didn't like your cuteness?
Like my what?
cuteness.
I'm sure there were.
Did you ever get on anybody's nerves?
My dad's. I'm sure I got on both of my brother's nerves too.
And if I asked, were you a little girl that was like the passive situation, you want something, so you were pushing? They said, no. This was you that was conditioned that you had to be aggressive, and so they were aggressive more back at you. It's a little bit more than just the passy. So you were spitting out what they were spitting out, what they were showing, you showed it too.
Mm-hmm.
Something bigger than you slapped you down. Now this will affect your levels 4 value system, and that is the yin and the yang. This is shown like powers. I can't remember if it was Adolf, some very powerful president in some country that was doing very much harm, and so it got slapped by another government to the point where they backed down. They had to go to prison. They had to go do, for their actions, and they never rose back up again to show and display that same aggression. It's like they learned their behavior, right? They changed their behavior. But what happens with this level of 4 is that you were displaying what they were, which was aggression. And I think the wheelchair person was beyond. Let's say you were just throwing tantrums. Let's say you were getting your way. Let's
Mm-hmm.
say, and he couldn't take it. I said, was it
Yeah, my
cuteness?
head wants to spin. So yeah, that
Okay.
resonates quite well.
Yeah. So now we're in the scalar field. We kind of ran out of time, but it's okay. There's a certain amount of deficiency that was born from that. Do you understand where you have to
Mm-hmm.
aim?
Mm-hmm.
Explain it back to me so others people can understand.
So basically, in a nutshell, that experience that I had when I was that age with that person, I learned deficiency from that, which created it to snowball throughout my life.
Yes. Tell, give it another way. You have to correct this.
Um, so the experience that I had when I was little caused a sense of deficiency, and it was very lofty, and I
Stop right there. Who was lofty?
I was lofty.
Right, both sides. So behavior correction, it is, I'm going to change your behavior before you change me. So if you learned a behavior and you're displaying that behavior, and somebody has learned that behavior and displaying that behavior, you go to head with those behavior, who's going to win? In this case, it shocked you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I don't think he ever yelled at me before that.
Okay. So if I look at this, you would hear aggression. So your little self was feeling and hearing aggression. Okay, there's a lot here to still do. You're gonna start with R2D. You're like, no, 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 I can't be me because I'm gonna get attacked. But in this case, your communication is of worrying and all this and that because you didn't want that from them.
Makes sense.
Okay, but your sister showed up to tell you I love you. And you're like, whoa, I haven't seen them in years. I
No,
feel like,
she said, "Are you still on two?" Meaning, do you still love me?
okay, the question, okay, so it isn't that I love you, is it, do you still love me? So what do you think you're asking?
She was asking me if I still loved her, and I'm like,
And what would you be asking your brother after he yelled and screamed at you?
What did I do wrong? Do you still love me?
You still love me. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be displaying certain things in her mind because you haven't contacted her. And you're the aggressive one in her mind. Even though that's not what you're doing. But your little self keeps asking, I'm overloaded, I'm drained, I don't know what happened, I don't know why he's yelled at me, I don't know what's happening. Do you still love me? And that little girl went through all of this deficiency, all of these worries. Worry was her friend. Because you did not want to get that aggressive action from this person again. Because it scared you so bad. It made you question whether you're loved. Robin says, wow, that's huge. And you talk about wanting approval from a mask. You wanted approval from that thing, that aggressive thing. I don't want to see that aggressive thing ever again. So I have to survive as a program by worry and not be my authentic self. Well, go ahead. What are you getting?
I was, oh my God, I was seeking the approval of that mask that he was wearing too.
Your brother shows up and he's like, yeah, okay, my sister needs gutters. We're going to put those on. Then we're going to take her out to lunch and we're going to do this. And I'm going to be the big brother. And that is that. He is not that same person that he was when you were 4. But you can't see anything greater than what you know.
Mm-hmm. That crack in that egg's getting quite big.
Good. But notice how that aggression made you believe that you were deficient. You were smacked down. And when, like I said, when the levels 4 gets a smackdown, it can't get back up. Because it's like, I'm not getting back up to get smacked down harder. They're bigger than me. Their behavior is bigger than my behavior. Kate says, I have this exact same pattern, and I'm having you hold, what is it, R2?
R2D.
R2D. So, Kate, right wrist, second position D. You want to start pulling these out of your patterns. You want to pull these emotions out of your patterns. You have to measure how you know this. Measure how you know this. I'm going to put a like on my thing.
Goes along with what what I was dealing with on my show today too.
Okay. So you can see how a continuation of what reality in that particular time period is still playing out. Okay. Apparently she's not going to share, but she at least can think about it. That's good. And if you like this show, come over to YouTube, help me get this going. Yeah, let's get up to 1,000 likes. So come on over, not 1,000 likes. Come on over, get 1,000 subscribers. Let's get up there, and also give me a thumbs up and leave some comments. That would be great. If you get a reading today, you would look at the clock behind. You guys can't see it, but there's a clock behind me, and that is what your timestamp would be. So when people look at their chakras, it isn't really about, I don't really know what people think chakras are, but it's more than that. These are the stories. I mean, if we were to say, what is she doing? She's working on her second and her fourth chakra right now. Your chakras are always spinning. They're just not in a good, healthy spin. They could be wibbly, wobbly, forwards, backwards, blah, blah, blah. And they're distorted by the interference patterns. That's all there is. And it's up to you to balance them, center the gyroscope. And the first three need to be healed before the 4, 5, 6, and 7 can be balanced. You can balance them and not in the way that, oh, man, but becoming more in a healthier alignment to how you see and be in reality.
Oh, that's interesting. Usually it's coming from up here, but it's coming in at eye level because he was eye level with me because he was in the wheelchair.
That's true.
That's even scarier.
So that's definitely something you need to put behind you.
Oh, wow.
Because I know, like, for instance, the TikTok requires more data to run. And see, like, yeah, it's not even charging right. It's old, it's worn out, but at the same time, it probably can't get any more updates. Who knows?
No, I tried on my old phone. There's no more updates for it.
Right. So eventually it's just going to stop working. But I know TikTok can use up a lot of data, and a lot of not just the data, but the energy that required. So, what number are you at?
I feel like I just hit 0.
Okay. I agree, put your giggles on, and I need you to understand part of your homework as the soul that's awakening up, how love is used as a weapon. And is it necessary to use things as weapons? Does this make
No,
sense?
it's not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
So, somebody wants a nice, okay, so the video, so Sacred Intentions has paid to do a video. Just trying to figure out on TikTok or because I don't know how to get the link from them, so we may have to communicate
So,
that.
Kate, you'll either have to send her a message on her FB, her FB business page messenger, which is in the link tree, or it will have to be on TikTok.
Okay.
She
So
does have enough followers.
yeah. So Kate, like I said, go over to FB and message Medicine Woman Soultion. That's Soultion, and I will send you a link to so you can come on. Do you have Zoom? If you have Zoom, then we'll have no problem. If that is a problem and you can't do it this way, there are other ways we can do it. Okay, Miss Amy, let's get back so we can close this up because we have gone way over time. And I want you to give me your insights.
The biggest insight that I always come away with is I don't have to believe my own BS.
Okay.
And with this, I learned that I don't have to keep borrowing my mom's worry. And I don't have to believe the loftiness, and I don't have to push that off on anybody else.
So notice that one of the things that's coming up is about modifying your behavior. It is, do you want these just be programs to
No,
have
and I don't have to seek the approval of anybody.
good. And so as you began to change these emotions, and how did you know that that feeling that you were working on, which I can't remember what it was, worry? No, that wasn't it. Was it?
It was the lofty, the tones in the
Lofty.
pictures.
Okay. How did you know that it was even present? How did you know that lofty was present? Was it a
It
sensation? What was
it's
it?
it's a sensation. It was when I resonated, my head started to spin, wanted to spin.
Okay. All
So
right.
it was a physiological response to the emotion that was coming up that was needed to be healed out.
Okay. Very good. And now that it was there, it was a sensation, it was the feelings that it's like, ah, this is how you know it. And is it still there? I mean, you can know what lofty is, but is it controlling you?
No.
Okay. And so you're able to look at it from a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Excellent. Oh, wait a minute. I'm confused.
What?
Oh, no, okay. It came up, I was looking for Katie, and then it came up as somebody else that was in the other room. I was almost sent it to the wrong one. Okay, you did it. You've measured it. You know that you're growing. You're not the same person you used to be.
Mm-mm.
You don't have to be ashamed of yourself. You don't have to forgive yourself because as you began to heal, there's nothing really to forgive. You're not really broken. You're starting to feel the integration of wholeness. Yes?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. We will talk to you later and especially see you tomorrow in Tribe.
Yep. We'll see you tomorrow in Tribe.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. That was Amy, and she has, you keep following her, you keep understanding what's happening. You get to see how you believe you're awake, but then you start cracking these programs. And as you crack these programs, all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, I am awake. I am feeling better. I am. Well, you don't ever measure yourself with anybody else. They are a catalog of life that yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And you are going to look back of how you know who you are, and do you want to go back to that, or are you happy that you've grown and you can see your progress and you know that you're not repeating the same behavior? Because some people say, "Oh, I outgrew that," and then they do the same behavior. This is not the same. This is not the same. Um, in a moment or two, hopefully everything will work just fine. We will have Katie come on, and then we have Giselle that would like a reading. So, Giselle, I will write you down and we will get to you in just a moment or two. Is that a gift or is it a reading? Hold on. Did you get me any notes? Give me a big smile and love. Got to find out what pattern you're in or where you are at. So was that for a reading? Was that for a, where are you? Let me know when you want to jump on. Yeah, I sent you the link. Go ahead for a reading. Okay, okay. So that was a chat. Yes. So I never know because when you take and order something from me, then it has to do the, what do you call it? The differences, whatever. So I always have to make sure I understand. And there goes that TikTok. Oh my God. All right. I don't know what's going on with TikTok for anything. I just lost both TikToks. Um, wow. Okay. I'm gonna continue on. We got to figure out how to get TikTok back at the same time. Run a show. Run a show. Hi, Katie. You do not have to have your camera on unless you want to, but audio is good to hear. Ah, wonderful. Thank you for being present. Um, give me 1 second. I've lost all of TikTok, so the two people.
Uh, all good. No stress.
Okay. All right. It is nice to see you. How can I help you?
Good point. Yeah, I mean, I totally resonate with everything you're doing with Amy about like the worrying to keep myself safe or that love hurts. I suppose I'm going through a process of like opening my heart.
Yes. Okay.
But I feel like I have this huge block in my solar plexus.
Okay. I'm going to address that because what I'm seeing is that this is the information you're told. And when you sense certain things, now were you told this or did you come to this conclusion yourself about the third
No,
chakra?
yeah, no, it's myself, and
Okay.
it's kind of like I feel like I clear it and it just sucks everything back in again, if that
Yes.
makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah,
And the one thing about chakras is that they are it's data center, but it's also a living, breathing thing. So that at each moment that
yeah,
you feel and be, you're always, reprogramming yourself, redoing this. So we want to pull it out. So whatever you're doing, we usually will find there's an emotional chemical peptide, which is emotions that's tied to it. So I'm
yeah.
going to ask Spirit, she wants to clear her third chakra and start waking up. What should she need to do? And they says, well, pay attention to anxiety. There's a lie. So let me just put that down. So do you understand what anxiety is?
Yeah, and it's like this obsessive worry,
Mm-hmm.
um, even when there's nothing to worry about.
All right. So
Um,
this is your identity. This is how you identified yourself. And so if
mm,
you're not doing it, it's 2 o'clock. You need to be worrying about something because that is and I said, is this worry a safety net to survive? They said, in this case, it is about, I have to worry as I chase my dreams. I said, the things you want, desire, yes. So what did you just hear me say? And did you understand it?
um, yeah, I heard you say that I have to worry in order to be able to chase my path, my wants, my desires, my life.
So here's the thing. In the position of worry, it was a tool that says, I want something. So I have to do all this strategy of worry to get the thing I want. And so this is now just telling me it's a habit and a strategy. And I said, so in order to get the goal you need, you have to do how you memorize the steps before. And they said, yes, because in the outside, all right. So when you grew up, who did this? Who had this habit of worry and when they wanted something and had to do this? How did you know to do this?
Um, I can see that in both my parents, to be honest. My dad more so. Um, like, yeah.
Okay. So yes, you are what they call displaying your parents. This is
Mm,
what you're supposed to do. This is what you've learned. Now, I also feel like you were left to your own devices,
yes,
meaning
a lot.
a lot. Okay. So you had to figure out how to cope, handle, and deal with life. And so you're like, oh, I'll do it the way they do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So I'm just saying, how are we going to help her? We can understand more and more why this is a pattern. I said it's stuck in the third. They go, well, it's actually displaying of the first chakra and your seventh. So you feel disconnected, separated, and therefore fear will come in and you can't get the answer. So how do I help people understand this? Is that you always have that connection to spirit. You can just say, thank you, spirit. Show me something greater than what I know. And when you start to develop that bridge and that communication, you will start to create a foundation that will help you say, I don't want to do this strategy anymore. Right now, you
yeah,
have nothing to replace it with. So I just say, thank you, Spirit. Now, how you define God, how you define whatever that is, that's up to you. So knowing that, this is said that there's a hammerhead. So that means there's a particular mark on your brain. And I said, tell me more. They go around 7 years old. She felt very deficient, left her own device of how to cope, handle, and deal with something. I says, what about 7? They said, she was left in the space. I'm in the space of nothingness. So you must have experienced a space of nothingness. So I'm not sure understanding this. And then all of a sudden they said there was this habit that when you felt bored or disconnected, you felt very alone.
yeah,
I said, tell me more. And they said, when you felt that, you didn't like to be left alone. So you learned to feel helpless when you were alone.
Mm.
And you couldn't help yourself. I said in one of your basic needs, they go, no, it was interaction with another human being and it scared you.
Yeah.
Did you get to fall victim to them? So basically, if they wanted you to do something and you didn't know how to say no, and you
Yeah.
ended up following what they wanted.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it went against your will. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
That's
My
what they
mum treated me like I was a personal slave.
okay. And they said, now you understand how you know, and it crossed territories all the time.
Yeah. Constantly boundaries. Like I've had to now, as an adult, I had to like train her like a puppy
Oh,
to
yeah,
have
okay.
to have boundaries, and now she's really amazing with my boundaries. But then, like up until my 30s, she just treated me
Now
however she wanted to
understand
treat
that
me.
this is the root cause. It's stuck there, and now the body is saying, I don't want this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is what's stuck in the third chakra and what goes up to the seventh. So even if you she doesn't display that anymore, you're gonna have somebody show up. If you
Yeah.
don't do it yourself, you're gonna have someone show up
No,
because you're still saying,
it's definitely with myself.
okay. And it's saying, can you heal this now? So when drama and trauma show up, your soul is saying, can you heal it now? You couldn't do it then, but you have another opportunity. Do it now.
Cool.
So when you measure this and you're feeling that the crossing of the territories, you get the feeling, what number is it? Because you may think, it's only 4 or 5. But when you get into the healing of this that I'm going to give you, it may go up because you're really getting into some really thick territory and
Yeah.
letting the feeling process go. You've learned to overcome, you've learned to grow, you've learned to do this. But to really help you heal, it is to understand, yes, there was a territory crossed. Yes, this has happened. And you understand it. Okay. But when you get ready to do this, you're going to hold the right wrist first position soft, meaning your thumb is not going to go deep. Okay. So, and you create letter C.
Find something to lean my phone against
Okay.
so it doesn't fall over.
Okay. So,
So,
right
sorry,
wrist,
can you
right? Yeah,
okay.
right wrist. You
Right?
the right under the thumb where the crick
Yep.
is, where you're going to put your thumb. You're going to just have it soft. Put your pointer finger in your palm, so you create the letter C.
Uh-huh.
Safety, security, stability on the back to give it support. And now the heel of the palm is going to go right here, and then you're going to drop your fingers. So go ahead and do that. Now, as you're doing this, I want you to go, I know this story. I understand this story. It's okay. I understand the story. So you have to get into the feels of not just the intellectualizing, but I want you to feel. Like, for instance, when it came to this, you had the anxiety. You could feel it coming. You can anticipate it. And the body is like going, you can feel some invading energy that you're going to have to distrust. I mean, you're walking yourself into worry right now. Do you understand? You know the steps from, hey, it's time to start, to this first step, this, there you go. Okay, so don't have to go too deep. You can do that later. But can you feel where you are right now with this?
Yeah.
And you know it's true. Now, on a
Yeah.
scale from 0 to 10, 10 being, oh my God, it's the worst, what number is it?
About a 6.
Good, good, good. Now just sit there and look at how you know it. No intellectualizing. Oh, it's because of this and that. No, I want you to just feel it. Feel the sensations. Feel how you know it's different than what love is.
It actually stops my breathing, like I can feel pressure on my chest and it actually
Good.
stops me breathing. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, that's great awareness. Okay, so begin again. Remove, transcend, let go. Now go back. Okay, now go back. Hey, I'm happy, I'm joyful. And then how do you know? Go into it, go into it. And as you begin to go into it,
It's actually like a ringing in my like I can feel it in my head, and it's like a ringing in my ears as well.
Okay.
It's like someone's trying to warn me that it's
Okay, so
coming.
all right, all right, all right. And I asked, are you ready to process this? I said, yes. So you're going to remove, transcend, let go, and then just kind of bring yourself right back to the beginning. Okay, how do I know this? It's here, it's there. I know it. How do I know this? How do I know this?
I'm not too sure what you mean by that, but it's kind of like because it's always been that way.
Correct. It's how you know it. Now, is it okay if you had this gone, would you know who you are? Would you know how to be without this warning system, this alarm, this worry, this anxiety, this
Yes.
okay. Now look at this. Now go over to where it feels good. And you say, I want this. And as we remove, transcend, let go of anything, I want you to go back into that. How you know anxiety and fear, all this. Do you want that?
No.
And what number is it now? Is it still a 6?
About a 4.
Good, you're healing yourself. Okay. Now, really look at how you know it. Look at the symptoms. Look at all of the thoughts. Look at the, oh, you know it's there. Remove, transcend, let go. Now go back to that wonderful place that doesn't have it. And you get into that wonderful place and you can completely feel night and day difference, correct?
Yeah, it's really quiet and peaceful, but it's funny because I can feel it on the right hand side of me and it's almost outside of me. It's not in me.
Okay. And was it in you before?
The
Or
peaceful
is the
place?
joy? Is the joy? Are we talking joy or are we talking anxiety?
No, I can't feel the joy. I can feel like quietness
Is that inside or out?
outside.
Okay. How about bringing that in? Is it safe to bring it in?
Yeah.
Okay. So bring that in, remove, transcend, let go, bring it in. Feel it for a moment. And where does it need to be the most? In your toes, in your third chakra, in your forehead, butt crack? Where do you think this feeling of calmness needs to go?
My heart and my solar plexus.
So put that in there.
My
Notice,
stomach.
okay, in your heart and your solar plexus and your stomach, is there anything in there that shouldn't be in there that stops that love and calmness from being there? Is there anything that stops it? Yeah, the worry, right? So
Yeah.
let's go
Yeah.
into the worry. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go into all three at once? Which one can you focus on? The heart, the stomach, or the solar plexus?
Maybe the stomach.
Okay, so we go to the stomach. I want you to go, how do you know it? Now, the intensity of it, is it the charge? Is it on a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being the worst, what number you think it is?
It's about a 7.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want and say, okay, this is my identity. I had identified to protect myself with this. I give myself permission to let this go, or do I need to keep it just in case?
No, I give myself
Okay.
permission to let it go.
All right, so now we remove, transcend, let it go, pull it outside of you. And I've got a treasure chest. You can just imagine that you're putting it in your treasure chest, or you have your own personal one. That's fine. But you're going to just pull it outside of you. As you start pulling it out, you're going to notice the thickness of it, the intensity of it, the weight of it, the smell of it, whatever it is. But you're going to pull it out and you say, okay, this no longer needs to invade my space. And as you do that, I want you to feel your joy coming into that stomach area as we pull out the gunk. Do you understand? It's transforming out. Now, as we begin to do this, remove, transcend, let go, go to the heart. What number is it there?
As in the joy.
As in the anxiety,
Oh, okay.
because your heart's saying, I don't want it.
Yeah, maybe about a 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay.
It
Now,
feels like it's starting to panic about having joy.
Oh, it's panicking about joy?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it seems foreign to it, right? So it must have been greeted with joy, with this panic. Oh, okay. So let's just start to remove, transcend whatever needs to be removed, transformed, let it happen. Put whatever in the treasure chest as you do that, and you start to take that out. Did anybody put energy into that space that scared you? If something was put in, you pulled that out. If something was taken from you, you're going to say, I reclaim it, and you're going to pull that color in. And as you start to do this, remove, transcend, and let it go, and that process is happening, you're noticing that process, and it can be finished anytime it wants. I want you to go down to the third chakra, because this is where the data center is. And I want you to look like it's a hoarding room. It's a room where all the files are flung all over, and it's hoarding, and oh my God. I want you to imagine that you have a tool, like a vacuum or something, that's just going to suck up what no longer serves and just pull out and clean up that area. Is it safe to do that? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, just start cleaning that up. Imagine that, oh, you know how when you clean your house and it feels fresh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're going to take all that chaos, all the anxiety. Remember to keep your thumbs soft and just clean that up. And as that's happening, you're going to go back down to the stomach. Give me a number.
2.
Oh, look how much you're healing. Yay on you. Remove, transcend, let the rest of that go. Maybe vacuum them up with your vacuum. Go up to the heart. What number is that now?
4.
Okay. Now, it's a 4. It's a strong 4. And the thing is you are going to be working on healing your heart, because this is like, holy crap, I saw it. It's in my face. And it's okay. You can heal this later. But you can come right back down to your third chakra. What does that feel like? Is it feeling more fresh, or is it more, what does it feel like?
Interestingly, I want to say tired.
Yes. Yes. So imagine you're giving it a little nap. Oh yeah. Just get your rest on. Get your rest on. And then just allow yourself like you're feeling rested. And now go back to that stomach. What number is it?
1.
Very good. Remove, transcend, let go. Go all the way back up to the heart. What number is it?
3.
Oh, excellent. Now all of a sudden you're going to go back over to where your third chakra is. What number? What is it? You said it was tired.
She feels calm now.
Feels calm. Now feel it energized. Feel that you got it clean. It's refreshed. Oh, you know that it doesn't have to be that other way. That's just a catalog. Yeah, we're not ordering that again. And you're going to notice how good it feels. Like things are new. Feels refreshed. And as you allow that go all the way to your stomach, what number is it now?
1.
All right, I'm looking at a steady 1. And now let's go to the heart. Remove, transcend, let go up to the heart. What number is that?
2.
A 2. Notice how you're doing just really good. Now just sit with that, and you're holding that position. And I want you to feel territory. I want you to feel, is anything else invading your territory? If so, sweep it out the door, vacuum it up, clean it out, kick it out, take your power back. Because you're going to keep the wisdom, because you've already grown to have a different communication with, breathe it through. The body's like going, what the heck? Okay, breathe it through. Just remember, you've already established a lot with your mother. You're not losing that.
No, just there's been a lot of other people crossing my boundaries with my life. So there's just
Right.
feels like hundreds of people.
Okay, and so as you keep healing, you're going to notice that the boundary is that you're going to be warned without having to go into worry and say, excuse me. You're going to be able to say things that you couldn't say before. You're going to be able to put your really firm. Okay, so remove, transcend, let go. And I just want you to feel like everything is that it's good, bad, or indifference. Which one do you choose?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Good, bad, or indifference. Which one do you choose?
Good.
So now you're going to go all the way to your heart, and you're going to feel good. And you're going to say, thank you, Spirit, for helping me show up. Thank you, Spirit, for showing me how I can do this. and keep my healthy, strong territory. You're going to go down to your stomach saying, hey, stomach, no more stressing. Feel the blood come back into the belly where it needs to be because the whole body is calm. Doesn't have to go to your limbs. It's calm and you have the answer. And as you go down to your third chakra, you're going to go, oh, I have the answers now. Your file system. I want you to feel like you're downloading right now all of that goodness, all of that knowledge that you didn't see and couldn't see, but now has always been available to you. And as you do, there you go. As you do that, move, transcend, let's go back to the heart. What number do you have?
1.
Well, 1. Go to your stomach, and what number is it now?
2.
2. Oh, it's went up. Okay, so there's something there that your body says, I still have something to stress about. And I said, is it really about worry? They go, not in this case. I said, about the territory. It's not in this case. So it's about how you believe you're deficient. You didn't know how to co-handle and deal with it. Hey, I don't know how to do this. I'm just going to take this. So this is where you're going to say deficiency. I'm going to fill it with the white light. I'm going to say, thank you, Spirit, for showing me how. And so my definition, spirit is the creator of all that is, and it works with love. And I'm going to download that space, not my fears of what people say, spirits or whatever bad connotations. You're going to clear that out because you are going to connect with your heart and have a heart-brain coherence. And if you allow yourself to have a heart-brain coherence, then you're going to have a cup of peace inside of you. No matter what storm goes on, you are going to be confident, and you would rather be confident than be worried. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So
It's like the love feels too overwhelming.
very good, very good. How about joy? Can you handle joy at this moment?
I don't really know what it feels like.
Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to have you stop right there and then look at me, and we're going to grab a golden white light, connect one end to the heart, and you're going to extend it out to this territorial issue. And you're going to say, territory, do you accept this cord? And the territory says yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, say thank you. Now leave the cord there. You're going to be going on a journey to discover about what is love. Now, right now, you are also going to have some homework that's about how love is a weapon. They knew how to manipulate. They knew how to gaslight.
Yeah.
So you can't bring in love. You're like, I can't bring in love because the people that are giving me love don't know how to give love without giving that first.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where you're going to protect your heart, and you're going to say, you know what? You have healed enough that you're going to start noticing when they're gaslighting you. You're going to wake up a little further, and then you're going to say, no.
Yeah.
Or do I, and if all of a sudden you fall for it, I want you to ask yourself, why do I want their approval?
Yeah. It's funny because I don't have that in my life anymore at all. Like, I don't have people in my life that gaslight me. My
Right.
mum doesn't do it to me anymore. Like,
You do it to yourself.
yeah, I do it to myself.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And if you don't do it, you will make people appear, or you'll see it on TV,
Yeah.
and the body
Yeah.
will respond just
Yeah.
as if it
Yeah.
happened. And this is where you are learning and going to be learning that love does not have to be used as a weapon. You don't have to do it to yourself. You do not have to see it. It's not about ignoring it. It's about healing it out. So we want the heart-brain coherence because your
Yeah.
heart's, oh, I want love, but it has all these conditions with it. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you start to have anything to do with love as a weapon, love comes at you and you know that it's a weapon and it's you. I want you to just go over to your right wrist, and I want you to go 3 positions. Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to soft. And then you're going to go, okay, and literally listen to how number it. Oh, I'm giving myself I'm doing this to myself. It's a 10. Oh, listen, and then write down. This is how I speak to myself, and write it down. And then you individually measure those, but keep doing this and get till it gets to 0. And if you can't, you grab golden white light, connect it to your heart, okay? And you extend it out and ask if it accepts this. Because you are waking up And all you can do it is in small increments, but they're going to be big ones.
Okay.
Because eventually you're not going to have to believe your own BS or your own abuse or your own. You have memorized step by step how other people have done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were trying to process as a kid that step, that it programmed you to do it to yourself.
Yeah.
Your soul, you're waking up and you're like, but I really don't need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So R3S is going to be your best friend at this point, because even if you can't do that, just do this.
Okay.
And measure 10 being the worst and stay there until it gets to 0. Because this is where you as a soul is beginning to step up and heal this incident. Even if it's all of a sudden you're a week later and you're like, oh my God, I remember what happened last week. Measure it, heal it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You are worth it. So give yourself time. I'm out of sync. I'm gonna go heal. Because I can feel in your soul that you're ready to transform your world. And you're like, I'm ready to evolve out of this.
Yeah.
And so I like your dedication today. And we went over a little bit, but I think it's worth it. Tell me, could you feel anything before or after? Because this is new to you about how to measure and all that.
Yeah.
Notice.
My heart feels warmer.
Ah,
Like it feels like there's a warmth in there.
good,
And the pressure that I could feel in my stomach feels much less.
good, good, good. And how are you emotionally?
That does feel a little like, because when I went to try and pull the love in, that felt really emotional. But I feel settled. Yeah.
Good, good, good. And the more you witness of anything you've healed, and that witnessing about before and after is going to help your brain so that it can do the next best guess, but it'll choose healthier. So you won't always have to go back to that old program or reinstall that old program. You get to pause, you get to be in charge, you get to have your pen. Okay? So this is a process.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you for coming on and giving the energy exchange so we could do this. It was nice to meet you, and we'll talk to you real
Nice to
soon.
meet you too.
Okay?
Cool. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
You
Bye.
did good. All right, bye. That's a great example of how she's like, I'm going to try this. I want to do this for myself. So she invested in herself. She paid. She gave it herself all. She gave all of herself. She listened to how she knows. So you can hear how she knew it by the sensations in her body. And so when you use your gift of awareness, you can develop more and more skills about how to process something. So I think that is really good. I'm very proud of her for doing that. And I've lost my screen about communication. Why? I do not know. There we go. Great session. Yes, she did a fantastic job. Okay, I'm just going to look around. If there's anybody here that is new and wants a reading, you just go ahead and ask. I'll give you a free reading. If you've had a reading from me before, again, there are ways that can have energy exchange. You can, if you like this program, go hop over to YouTube, help me get this movement going, help me support. That helps, and it goes a long way. So more and more people can start to realize that they can take care of their mental health, their emotional health, their physical health, help evolve their soul. And that's what we're here for. All right. Just looking around. Thank you so much. That was so helpful. Wonderful. Keep the healing. Don't just let your ego go, oh, yeah, that didn't happen. I want you to write it down. Now, Giselle, is she present? Because I can't figure out what phone. I think it's this one. So is Giselle, is she present? Because she's paid for a chat. We got to find her. YouTube? She's on YouTube. I can't read. There you are. Hey. Hi. Okay, now that I know where you are, I can read. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because if you're ready, is there anything specific, Giselle, that I can't remember if you said what you said. Let me just kind of look what she said. She didn't say anything. So let's have a conversation. What would you like me to do? Want me to, like, because I feel like you've been using the tools, listening to Amy and me. You have been growing. I can feel this wonderful feeling, whatever spirit wants me to know. Okay. I've been feeling like, there's a difference about how your soul and you are supporting one another. You are realizing that you're really no difference. Now, they want me to go down the road of contracts. Now, there's a soul contract, but then there are the way we use words with people, that we make vows like marriage, or contracts that said, yep, I'm going to do this for you. And then, so we're looking at contracts. My whole body is kind of nervous about it. So, contracts for a house, contracts for school, contracts. Do you know what I mean? Has anything with contracts come up lately? Because what I'm looking at is that you have a soul marker that began to pop up around 6 months old, and the story of compulsion. What it would look like as an adult for you right now is that there's this impending blaming. Somebody's going to blame you. Okay. And I said, tell me more. And they said that you know what it's like to feel your life force or your light be diminished, and you're supposed to always be in the background. So I feel like this is a contract you may have said to yourself, that I have to dim my light to let other people shine. Does this make sense? Is it about our current partner? Sort of. So you do this with everybody? Do you do it at work? Do you do it at school? Do you do it because I feel like all of a sudden it was like requirement when you were growing up to everybody that I'm supposed to dim my light because you're more important than me type thing. And even with the partner, but I feel like it's like a constant, like did you have that growing up with your parents or anything? Yes, it does. Okay. So your soul has brought it up many times over and over, and your soul is saying, can we change that one, heal that one? Because we got some work to do. So I feel like I feel like maybe you're doing more of your purpose. You're going down because I can see this path is a lot healthier. And they said, but every time I go to do it, I have to expect. So there's an expectation, which we have to heal out, that has to do with invading energy. I feel like my light has to be dim. Yes. And so now I'm going to ask, as she's thinking that, my light has to be dim. Are you doing it to survive? No. Are you doing it to be a good girl? No. Are you doing it for approval? No. I'm doing it because I only know how to feel deficient. I only know how to feel that that's my role. Ooh, this is huge. Okay, so did you grow up? I don't know how to explain this. Uh, in the family role, I was supposed to be the healer. Okay, I'm supposed to be the one that fills your needs. My sister was one of my sisters was a comedian, the other sister was a black sheep, and so forth. And I feel like your role was to dim your light. And I said, see, I would dim my light because I didn't want my dad to kick my butt, physically. So I would always dim my light so that I didn't have to be seen by somebody that was looking for a target. And I said, is this similar to you? And they go, it's something to do with your parents. Something to do with your parents. Did that represent like you being a good girl? Or you listened, oh, you're such a good girl. Those other kids give me trouble. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's something there. I can't put my finger on it, but there was a part of you that said, I am not, okay, so in this case, I am not going to be like my sister. And I would look at her behavior and I would put so much energy of not being that I would dim my light because she always wanted the light. She always wanted to shine. She always wanted it. And I'm like, I'm not going to be that. And I feel like there's a not there. And just to explain, I am not going to be that. So my mother would, or my dad would look at my sister and they would have scorning and arguing and this. And I'm like, I do not want that. So I looked at the cause, and that would be my energy of my mother looking at my sister, and she was the cause. So what was she doing that would cause that? And that would be this. So I would say, I am not doing that. These knots can really affect your growth, because I was in marriages where I'm supposed to help them shine. I always had, she said 100%, she knows. And you can feel it. These are the patterns. You don't want them to feel embarrassed, or you don't want them to feel like crap, and you have to feel like you kind of walk on eggshells because they're fragile. However it is, so you develop this particular part of you, but it keeps you from ever shining. Okay, so now she knows that. So Spirit, what would you like? And I forgot to even do that. Oh, that's all right. No big deal. And Spirit says, okay, so how do I explain this one? All right, so you have to live their way to have life. You have made a contract with yourself that you're not going to do that. And then you began to write all these little rules that said, I must live this way. Mom says this, I can't live that way. And Mom, okay, I have to live this way. And so then you keep yourself completely in check constantly, which means you police yourself, you control yourself, but you can never really become your authentic self, because you have all of these checks and balances that you put in play, you imposed upon them yourself. So I must live their way to have life. So let's say you wanted to shine, let's say you wanted to be a star, but it wasn't in their timing. Oh, you can't be a star because I have to work. You can't be a star because I have all of these things planned out. You can't do this because you're like, okay, fine. Okay, fine. And you dim and dim. It's okay, you certainly do that. We're going to have you do R1S, because this is a learned, and this is a self-imposed learned helplessness. It's a learned helplessness. You learned to not burden, be an inconvenience, because in your learning that you do not want that, and you don't want that. So as soon as you start to become, and we usually do this before hormones come in, this is where the battle becomes in ourselves. Learned helplessness. How do I explain this? Okay, I can show you from a point of view, let's say the extremes. People who are kidnapped and they chain them to a pole, give them no bed, no water, no heat, all the necessities, the needs that we're meant to have as humans, and they will make you helpless. And then as soon as you do the rewards and punishment, so if you do it right, they give you maybe a pillow, or they give you a blanket, and then as soon as you do it wrong, they got to take it away and tame you like a dog. You're pushed to the back burner. But if you did it in some ways, you wanted to be pushed on the back burner because you were avoiding something. I am not going to be that something. So you made a contract with yourself. So once you start to realize that you had learned helplessness, you made yourself helpless so that you didn't engage in your power. So this would happen, or the attack would happen. So can you see how you dimmed your light, but you dimmed your power, and you wrote with your little pen, I am not going to do that. I don't want that. So now once you've done this and you begin to do this, you made yourself helpless. Okay. You made yourself irrelevant, because you do not want now what is it you don't want? You don't want your heart crushed. Okay. As soon as you start to do this, it's not that you're going to fail. Somebody's going to come at you and just tell you this and just crush your heart. because their life's busier. I've got to do, you can't, left wrist, first position, deep. Okay, Giselle? I want you to realize you don't want this because you don't want your heart crushed. You know what your heart crushed feels like, and you don't want to do that again. You may have to do these several times because you got a lot of accumulation, and a lot of repetition, and a lot of habits. Does this make sense? So work on those two things. You might have to get them to 0, and then another. It's not that you didn't heal it. It's another perspective, another layer, another thing appearing because you did not. The amount of energy of, oh, I'm not doing that, really put up these protective barriers. God knows I know this one well. And as I grew, it was like, it was your fault. No, I had to learn to know. I had to learn. I imposed them myself because I didn't want that heart-crushing moment. Because, do you understand? So I put these alarms in. I put these moments in. I had to make sure I never succeeded. I had to keep myself helpless, hurt myself, not, but I would fall down or this and that. And this is a huge one. Thank you, Spirit. I do the same with my partner. Okay. So the wonderful thing about a partner, whether they're in your space or they're not in your space, but the thing is with my ex, I'm thankful that I chose him so I can build a foundation and begin to heal how the only way I could ever see it was with that story. And as I broke that down, I realized I had built this relationship up and taken responsibility of the scalar field that I always had to show up a certain way. And when I changed that, that changed our dynamics with this as a relationship. And he didn't want to grow with me. My husband now, we're like, oh, we have a scalar field crap show. Let's stop. We're out of sync. Let's go heal. And we know not to blame one another or build intolerance tubes. We know that we need to heal the roots and we need to heal the scalar field. I keep a high wall up to not allow my heart to get broken. Exactly. Not doing that. And this is going to take some time. Come back to during each show. And, the more that you're aware that you're taking this particular thing and breaking it down, then you will start to break the habit, which sits in your, we have a habit field, okay? It's basically found at our elbows. In this aura, we have a habit field. It's a replicator. It's supposed to replicate all the things that we've memorized. When you begin to heal with those emotional chemical peptides, pull them up by the roots, it's going to be met with that habit field, and it'll look like a vending machine that looks like one button because you ain't going to see the rest. It's a habit. But when you stop as a spirit and your soul's urge and you're looking, I'm not touching that button, you have a choice point. And the more you heal, the more the button gets smaller. And the more you know as a spirit, you have a choice point. And the more you do this, then all of a sudden you're going to pass that test without knowing it. Now, this is a big one because this is a soul marker one. And you are going to help heal generations, but you're going to heal soul. I want to say generations of the soul, I guess. But you're going to be healing down to the root, which is going to help the big soul group. Because this is a big one, apparently, that all of the soul group that you came in with is kind of looking at and working on. So you help heal yourself. You are helping me and anybody else that is a woman or whatever religion, whatever it is on a soul level, you're helping those timelines. That's not pressure. That is you saying, I'm done repeating this story. I'm done seeing this. I'm done. And you're healing all these aspects of you that just happens to look like me. So thank you for stepping up and wanting to see it and to tackle it and to, you need guidance. I'm here. Culture as well. Your culture as well. All of it. And it's a big, big difference. And it's not, again, don't feel like it's the way you're doing this personally for you. The benefits is going to be amazing because it's a systemic thing. It'll heal like if you are taking care of something. So with people that have warts and they're like, oh my God, you get them burned off and they don't seem to go anywhere, or you have a big one, they have a thing that you can inject dead bacteria into that wart, and the immune system will come in and clean that up. Eventually, the immune system is going to go, what's this? You're not me. That's a virus. And attack and kill off that wart. And all of a sudden, systemically, if you had warts anywhere else, it would disappear. So you can have an overall healing. That's how as you're healing, you're also creating a systemic, you're healing culture, different parts of you, like I said, with gender and all that. Thank you very much for honoring yourself as well as honoring me and giving that energy exchange. And I find that this one was very insightful, very insightful, because I've grown a lot. And thank you for helping me see that. Thank you for helping me see that. Anybody else can relate to this one? This one's a huge one. And apparently the one before that too, because there's a lot of people that going, oh my gosh, that's, I resonate with that one too. But we don't need to keep our high walls up anymore. We don't have to do these imposings. So we're looking at that particular knot, and it's just a certain amount of energy with conviction that we have done. Yes, seeing the growth is huge. It is. So once you resonate, once you feel it and process it out, then you got to witness. And then you can begin to notice your growth and notice that you're going to get tested again, like you always do anyway. But this time you say, thank you, Spirit, and start living by your heart and brain. And the next thing you know, you're going to be able to see it and grow. And you're like, oh, I passed a test. Or if you're upset, you're going to go, oh, I missed myself. I need to go heal this. Thank you so much. You guys are wonderful. And I love when it says 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what my time is right now. 1, 2, 3, 4 p.m. It has been a great day. Tomorrow's tribal, and I'm excited. I don't know what we're going to talk about. We're going to do something good. We're going to do something deep, and we're going to get to where we need to go. Today was huge. I have to say, I like that one, Giselle. Keep growing, guys. I'm proud of you. I really am. All right. Anybody else? That's my favorite time. Tribalist, me too. I love these both. I love doing all of that. And I got this opportunity to be with my husband and create a life. And I'm happy to do it. Like yesterday was just all about me and him day. And I loved it. Spirit design is what we call it. Oh, you love 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys. Just double checking to make sure there's nobody else. And I haven't forgotten. Yes, hashtag. Thank you, Spirit. Get your hashtags on. Resolve to evolve. Heal instead of deal. You can heal that. I can heal that. You can heal that. Ooh, you're excited about December 10th? Ah, yes, I imagine you would be, because you have created a future and you are going to step into it with grace and ease and have some fun. Hashtag NOBS. Not sure. Not sure. Anyway, let me check my thing. Very good. Let me hit transcripts. Nope. Forgot to turn those on. But that's okay. No big deal. No big deal. Just double checking. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Remember to, if you got a reading, go on over to YouTube and you will have the timestamp. It'll be the clock that's behind me, and you can watch as many times as you want, pause it as many times as you want, and don't believe your own BS. That's what it is. No BS. I like that. Let me hit stop. And before I hit stop, say, what is it what I always say, people? you are already blessed and you're already whole. So stay blessed and happy healing. And thank you, Spirit.